10 budget-friendly upcycling ideas for small rustic homes and gardens. Living in a small home doesn't mean letting go of style or comfort. In truth, the boundaries of limited space often invite deeper creativity, not confined but inspired. This kind of space demands intention and rewards imagination. With a rustic vision and a mindful eye toward budget-friendly upcycling, even the smallest corner becomes a stage for beauty, function and warmth. Rustic garden and home isn't just a look, it's a way of thinking. A philosophy rooted in using what we already have and giving forgotten objects a second life. In this mindset, nothing is wasted, everything holds potential. What was once cast aside now finds meaning and purpose. Rustic design welcomes the imperfect. It sees charm in the crooked line, in the faded colour, in the fingerprint of time. It leans into texture, earthiness, honest materials. Simple, quiet, timeless. A cracked piece of wood, a weathered iron frame, a jar that no longer seals. These are not flaws, they are features. They are memories made tangible. And in small spaces, this approach does more than decorate, it transforms. We begin in the garden. Even the tiniest plot of earth, a narrow balcony, a shaded window ledge, can become a rustic retreat. It doesn't need manicured grass or designer paving stones. All it needs is care and character. Reclaimed wood, rusty metal, old containers. These are the tools of rustic expression. Take wooden crates or discarded pallets, stack them, mount them, turn them into vertical gardens or shelves for herbs and trailing flowers. Each plank tells a story. Each nail holds purpose. Tin cans, given a coat of chalk paint or wrapped in twine, suddenly become charming hanging pots. Even a chipped teacup once destined for the trash can cradle a succulent with grace. The garden becomes a patchwork of memory and meaning. Old ladders rise again as plant stands. A rusted wheelbarrow blooms anew as a flower bed. These pieces are more than decor, they are function with feeling. Natural elements deepen the rustic soul, a path of scattered stones, a stool cut from a fallen log, a trellis shaped from weathered bamboo. Each addition breathes life into the garden. Each moment reflects thoughtfulness. We move inward to the home. Here too, upcycling becomes the cornerstone of rustic character. A reclaimed wooden door finds new life. It slides open as a barn door, it lies flat as a coffee table, it stands tall as a headboard. What was once an entry now becomes a centerpiece. Mason jars, those humble glass vessels, become warm glowing lights, or line kitchen shelves storing lentils, dried herbs and grains. Their transparency tells you exactly what you need. No secrets, just utility and charm. Old furniture takes on new spirit. An aging chest becomes a bench, with storage beneath and a cushion on top. A dusty cabinet, scraped clean, painted with care, becomes the soul of a small room. Texture is everything in rustic living. Burlap, linen, jute, cotton, soft fabrics with visible weave, used for curtains or cushions or as art on the wall. Paired with raw wood and the shimmer of aged metal, iron, brass, copper, they build contrast without noise. It's a balance of the rough and the soft, the cold and the warm. Not perfect, but perfectly lived in. Lighting carries the emotion of the space, not overhead beams of sterile white, but soft, warm glows. String lights hung loosely, lanterns in corners, chandeliers made from old bottles or suspended planks of wood. These lights whisper, they do not shout, and in their quiet way, they expand the space, they make it feel inviting, even endless. In homes where storage is scarce, rustic solutions shine. An old suitcase stacked beside a chair becomes a table. Open it, and your memories are stored inside. Vintage baskets mounted on the wall become holders of towels, books, tools. They organize with ease and display with pride. Floating shelves cut from reclaimed beams are not just useful, they're beautiful. They carry weight and they carry history. But above all, this way of living, this rustic upcycling, is about perspective. It asks us to see differently, to value again, to step away from constant consumption and into mindful transformation. You don't need abundance to feel abundance. You only need to see what's already there with new eyes, a little imagination, a little patience, and the courage to begin. Because in the end, the goal is not a perfect house, but a home that feels alive. A home that feels alive is one that reflects you. Not a catalogue version of style, but a lived-in, evolving expression of your hands, your choices, your stories. Rustic design doesn't chase trends, it slows down, it listens, it invites the past into the present. And in small spaces, this presence is amplified. There is no room for excess. Every detail must be intentional. It's not about filling space, it's about filling meaning. Let's begin with the walls. Walls in a small home become more than partitions. They are galleries, they are storage, they are backdrops for memory. Reclaimed wood panels, arranged in horizontal or herringbone patterns, add texture without clutter. Old windows with cracked panes or peeling frames can be hung like artwork. They tell time, they echo history, they bring a softness to vertical surfaces. Vintage mirrors, especially with tarnished edges, expand space visually and carry rustic elegance. Even a single weathered shutter mounted alone becomes sculpture. Now, look beneath your feet. Flooring doesn't need to be polished or pristine. In a rustic space, imperfections are beauty. Exposed floorboards, painted concrete, old tiles in mismatched patterns. Each of these tells a chapter of the home's story. And if the budget is tight, consider layering with woven rugs. Jute, sisal, or thick cotton mats add comfort without losing the grounded nature of the room. They invite bare feet. They quiet echoes. They create warmth without turning up the heat. Let's walk into the kitchen. This space, the heart of any home, is also where rustic design sings. You don't need modern finishes or sleek cabinets. All you need is function and soul. Shelving made from salvaged wood displays pottery, spices, and pantry jars. Each open shelf becomes a story in plain sight. Hooks hold iron pans, rusty tins cradle dried herbs, and perhaps a reclaimed butcher block serves as a prep station, with edges softened by years of use. Old drawers can be stacked and fixed to the wall as cubbies. A weathered bench beneath the window offers seating and storage beneath. The table? It doesn't have to match. In fact, it shouldn't. Let it be imperfect, let it wobble slightly, let it bear the marks of many meals and good conversations. If you find an abandoned table at a market or left on a curb, consider it. Scrape, sand, stain. And suddenly, it becomes yours. A light fixture overhead, perhaps made from a rusted colander or a crate turned upside down, suspends memory and practicality in the same breath. And in the corner, don't forget a small herb garden, reused cans, broken cups, even chipped bowls, all lined on a shelf or hanging from the wall. Their scent, basil, rosemary, mint, grounds the space in nature. From the kitchen, we move into the living space. Here, less is more, but the less must be chosen with heart. A wooden chest becomes a coffee table and conversation starter. A salvage door leans against the wall, not to be used, but simply to be. It speaks of history without saying a word. Layer your seating, a linen slipcover, a faded throw, pillows in grain sack fabric with hand-stitched edges. None should match. That's the rule. Harmony, yes. Uniformity, no. A tall branch, dried and placed in a glass jug, can replace costly sculpture. It reaches upward, reminding us of stillness. On the walls frame the forgotten, old letters, fabric swatches, even rusty tools. Mounted simply, these fragments become visual poems. Books, their spines worn, stacked haphazardly or arranged by colour. They don't just inform, they decorate. A vintage radio, an analog clock, a ceramic pitcher, all can live together in this space. Not to impress, but to express. Lighting here remains soft, candles in repurposed jars. A lamp made from a wine bottle and a linen shade. A string of Edison bulbs draped casually along a beam. All speak softly, all invite pause. And when night falls, the room glows. Not with technology, but with presence. Small homes thrive on this kind of presence. There's no place to hide clutter, no room for what isn't loved. That's not a limitation, it's a gift. It makes you edit your life to its truest essence. And the rustic way of living embraces this completely. You don't collect things, you collect stories. And each piece, whether rescued, rebuilt, or reimagined, becomes part of your architecture. A home designed with intention becomes a refuge, a mirror of who you are and what you value. Even in the smallest footprint, you can design expansively, not in size, but in spirit. With every repurposed plank, every salvaged object, every flicker of warm light, you shape a space that is undeniably yours. A space that is undeniably yours doesn't require excess. It requires presence. It requires purpose. The final layer, is where the rustic home breathes. It is in the transitions, the little moments, the quiet corners. Let's talk about the bedroom. Often the most personal space, and in small homes, perhaps the most multifunctional. Here, rustic design offers retreat. It offers a pause, a place where your day softens and your spirit recharges. You don't need ornate bed frames or designer linens. A headboard built from salvaged wood, perhaps from a barn door, a shipping crate, or even dismantled floorboards, becomes a focal point that anchors the room in both form and feeling. Linen sheets, a cotton throw, blankets layered not for show, but for comfort. Colours remain earthy, moss green, stone grey, sun-baked terracotta, soft beige. Let light in when you can. Let shadows linger when you can't. Use sheer curtains, maybe stitched from old lace or hemmed from natural muslin. Let them breathe with the breeze. Let them soften the morning. And above the bed, perhaps a simple shelf, one that holds a candle, a worn book, a dried flower in a clay vase. Not much, but enough. Beside the bed, skip the matching nightstands. Stack vintage crates. Repurpose a milking stool. Use a drawer from an old dresser turned on its side. All of them hold a book, a glass of water, a small lamp just as well. And the lighting? Let it flicker. Let it dim. Wall sconces from old lanterns, a bedside bulb hanging from twisted twine, even a reading lamp crafted from bent copper piping. Each light tells its own story. Each glow is a whisper rather than a shout. If your bedroom must double as a workspace, define it with materials. Use a weathered table as a desk. Let the marks and scratches be part of the rhythm. Mount shelves above it, rough wood with iron brackets. Keep it minimal, a journal, a cup of pens, a plant in a tin. When work is done, it returns to stillness. No excess, no digital buzz, just pause. Storage here matters deeply. Under the bed, consider baskets woven from seagrass or crates on wheels. Above doors, install narrow reclaimed wood ledges for things you rarely reach for but always need. Even hooks made from old cutlery or twisted branches can become a quiet solution to everyday clutter. Rustic design seeks simplicity through intention. It doesn't aim to impress. It aims to express. Now we turn to the soul of the small rustic home, the entryway. Even if it's just a wall or a corner beside the door, make it speak. Hang a wooden peg rail, a place for coats, hats, a bag that's used each day. Below it, an old bench, maybe just a slab of wood on two mismatched legs. Underneath, baskets, shoes, umbrellas. Above, a mirror, distressed, a chalkboard for reminders. This little space is not only practical, it is ritual. It welcomes you in and it sees you out. The rustic home does not separate beauty from function. They live side by side. They rely on each other. And finally, we reach the outdoors, the threshold between in and out. Even a balcony, a stoop, a stair can become sanctuary. Stack reclaimed bricks as a tiny side table. Lay old planks over cinder blocks for a bench. Drape an old quilt. Add two mismatched chairs. String lights above and let plants spill from their containers. Clay pots, teacups, metal tins with holes drilled for drainage. Let ivy climb a trellis made from an old gate. Let rosemary grow in a wine crate. This is not landscaping, it is storytelling with roots. If there's a fence, hang things on it. Wooden signs, vintage tools, a bicycle rim turned into a wreath. Make your walls talk, make your corners sing. Even the sound of wind against bamboo chimes can be part of the design. Your outdoor space, no matter how modest, is an extension of your values. Connection, reuse, reverence. Let every nail, every crack, every scrape become part of the poetry. Let your home stand not in perfection, but in personality. This is the beauty of rustic design. It doesn't erase time, it embraces it. It doesn't cover flaws, it highlights them. And in doing so, it welcomes you completely, honestly, fully. Not as a guest, but as the architect of something deeply yours. Small spaces do not mean small thinking. They mean sharper focus, clearer purpose, stronger heart. And with a rustic approach, and a spirit of upcycling, you don't just create a home, you create a haven, a place that holds you, a place that reflects you, a place that remembers.